kind of foundation or cluster. Also, when I was in England on study tour, I saw this collective action. I saw society, and I think that it's not good to make a foundation which will be led by one person. It's better to make association, cattle breeders association pasture, and where all the members have the same rights. This is not this is not my association, but this is our association. So we start building this farm community here in Poland, yes. And this is
Brilliant.
the main change in this idea after the bond, yes.
And when was the moment that you realized that you could be a leader? Because, you know, you went to Bond and then you came home and you started this thing. Where did you realize that you could do something like this?
I think that I was leader earlier, yes, but I didn't accept it. Yeah, I didn't accept me as a leader. I was a leader, but I didn't accept it. And after all these trainings and meetings in Cordoba, I get email from Maria Gracia, and there was a short movie, and I switch on it, and I think, oh, it's to motivate someone. As I was looking at it, and in the moment I think, okay, I am a leader. I can be a leader. So and this is it was just 1 minute, you know, 1 minute movie, and I accept. I put it. I allowed this mind to get to the inside, you know. Yes.
Fantastic. And can you just tell us a little bit more about what you've actually started? So you started an association. How many farmers are involved in that? And
now in our association there are about 14, 15 members. You know, after trainings, I know that it shouldn't be a big association at the start. So we start with a group of farmers from different with different points of view. We have farmers who start to be farmers a few months ago, and they were living in the cities. We have farmers who are farmers from father and grandfather. We have farmers from different countries who are farmers in Poland. From Great Britain, we have one farmer from Mexico, and all they give inside something new. And there are also the middle age of our group is 33 or 35 years. So this is these are very young people, young farmers, and there is a lot of power, you know. Everyone wants to do something. Now we have to stop because of the COVID problems, but we want to get a better access to the market, to our products directly, to start farmers shops, farmers meat shop with our beef or our different products, because you know these are mixed profile farms. Someone have also sheep, goats, and vegetables, yes, because there are some farmers who have agroforestry and beef is under the apple trees and etc. This is the one point of view, and the second, we start to building our own quality system, pasture-fed quality system, because in Poland we have no quality system like this. We have organic farm quality system, but it doesn't tell anything about quality of the product. It's difficult. So we start to writing this. I think that in a few months we will be able to start labeling our meat with the special sign pasture-fed beef.
Brilliant, thank you. You mentioned, and we haven't got much long before we move on to the next person, but you mentioned agroforestry. Can you just, in a really short couple of sentences, say a little bit about what you're doing in agroforestry?
Yes, I think that the most important thing what we have do is to we try to put the agroforestry to the main policy of Polish agriculture, and it's work. It's it start, and I think that into 2022 there will be first programs from our government, and they will pay to the farmers to plant new trees, to plant new agroforestry systems, not only from the side to protect environmental, but also to produce, because it's very hard to understand by them that farmers know that that it's our business to protect to protect nature. They all the time thinking that they have to pay, and that the protect nature is not paid off, and it's difficult to change this way of thinking.
Well, I can say we're very glad that you had that nudge earlier on to remind you that you are a leader and you can be a good leader. So we're very, very grateful that you're taking up that leadership role and doing what you're doing in Poland. Thank you very much for your time this morning. So let's move on to Bruna and Nikolina from Croatia. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So you did you want to share your screen, Bruna, briefly with us, just to
okay. Just a minute. I sort of lost it, and you.
Okay. Bruna and Nikolina just were involved in a cooperative together to do with regenerative agriculture, and now they're involved in. Would you want to explain about the hub briefly, whilst you're showing the pictures?
We a year ago we applied for become a savory hub. And that is a hub that are learning regenerative agriculture, especially in holistic management in pasture-raised cattle and animals. And but every hub have his own unique genius. And we came to conclusion that in Croatia the farmer is lost and totally out of context, out of ecosystem. And as Martin says before, only conscious farmer is breadwinner and life keeper, and that is our statement. And we decided also that is a story about hub. And through that story, we came to conclusion that because holistic management is mostly about cattle and about pasture-raised cattle, but we also want to make center, like in nearby future, to generate all the regenerative agriculture methods in it. So to have everything in one place, to be like a really collective action, and to involve many of NGOs and everything and institutions in that. Or also in Croatia, laws about farming are very good. So we shouldn't have much problem. The most problem would be, I think, finding investors. So you can see that big valley that we want to buy. It's like 30 hectares of land, and our cooperative future would be the manager and of the dynamic stakeholders network. And that would be hopefully like that building that you see. And you can see the whole valley, it's full of grass and completely empty without livestock. And what we want to achieve is that valley, to buy all those properties around that farm and to make it big. But in the future, we want to look like kind of that on the picture, to have all inside, like solar power, collecting water, composting, everything that when people or students or anybody who is interested in come to that, not to see only how you can product regeneratively, but how should you live in the future regeneratively, because we really don't have time. If FAO states that we have like 60 harvest in our lifetime, we will lose all our soils. And we really need to get back our farmers to really understand that. And
Thank you, Bruna.
that is basically our team. Just that's it. So I can
That's
stop sharing.
really, yeah, that's really exciting and really, really ambitious. Nikolina, can I just ask you, because I know you two have worked together in a cooperative situation. Can you share a little bit about your farm and your experience of cooperative, in the past couple of years before you got to this point, please?
Well, I'm a farmer in Croatia, and I grow a lot of animals, poultry, sheep, some pigs, and I produce all kinds of produce and products, and we deliver it directly to our customers. And 4 years ago, I started a cooperative with 4 other farmers, so there were 5 of us. And at the beginning, things were going well, but as I learned in Bond, I didn't delegate at the beginning. So in the study tour in France, a light bulb went on over my head, and I realized that I should share my responsibilities. Beside the Bond, Bruna is also she had very big influence on changing my perspective. And I started to delegate my duties, but it was too late for our group. And we, at one point, at the end of the last year, we realized that it is better to separate and to develop different separate businesses than to continue working like that when we don't have the same vision and we basically don't speak the same language. And this showed to be the best decision that we could make because our businesses grew and we separated into 2 groups. one of which is Bruna, myself, and my brother, our friend, and basically our families. And now the work goes much more smoothly, and I've been able to organize my work with my employees and deliveries and everything much better. So we're punctual, and I have more time for my family, myself, my farm.
That's great. Thank you. So, what I find very interesting in your journey, both of you, is that you started with a cooperative and you went through bond, and you had some learnings, and then things didn't work out, I guess, how you'd hoped. But when you look forward to the future, you're still saying working cooperatively, working
Yes.
collectively is the right thing to do. I guess with the lessons that you've learned from the first
I think
time.
that the biggest lesson is that we should, in the beginning, when you are starting a cooperative, all the members should be clear with the mutual vision, the mutual context, and they must all agree on that. And we didn't do that step at the beginning. We just began to work together, and we definitely want to work collectively and work in cooperative in the future. But I think that the useful lesson from our journey is that it's not the end of the world if some cooperative doesn't work out. You just need to learn the lesson and take that knowledge into the future projects. It doesn't have to be the end of the cooperatives.
What I want to add is we also learned that in cooperative you have like board of director, but you also have main decision maker, main manager, and that is like person of authority who knows how every business works and have decision power to make some and execute some decisions. So what was wrong with our cooperative, that everybody make decisions and everybody think, and that was like get you to exhaustion. So it's in big cooperatives or bigger cooperatives, when you have some serious work to do and organize, you should have one person that really have authority. That is like what I learned from that process, and so in the future we will be organizing like that.
Okay, that's really interesting. Thank you. Just before you leave, I think Nikolina, you shared with me once a story about the relationship that you had with your consumers, and how when you came across a difficult situation that kind of saved you. I'd just love you to share that with everybody.
Well, from the beginning, it was very clear to me that the most important product that I have is the relationship with the customers, because then I'm not just some XYZ person who delivers some meat, but I'm a person with a name, and they know me and I know them, and I really care about all of them. I'm quick to learn everything that is specific about people, and I really love people, so it comes naturally to me. And there were a few situations. One was in my second year of business. Weasel killed 3 batches of my chickens, so I didn't have any chickens for next 2 months. And my customers basically didn't eat chicken meat until I had new chickens. I had other animals, so they bought ducks and turkeys and everything else, but they stayed loyal, and they didn't buy any other chicken meat. And the second big moment was when we need to buy a cooling van, and we didn't have cash at that time, and we sent a lovely video with a calling for donations and for some payments in advance so we can buy cooling van. And in less than a month we raised all our funds and we were able to buy what we need, and in time we returned that money through the purchases. So definitely the most important product is customer relationships, but not only for the benefit of the farmer, but for raising the awareness about what we are doing. So my customers, most of them are very interested in environment effects that we make, and I have the opportunity to educate them and raising their awareness about how their food choices influence the environment, the ecosystem they live in.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, ladies. We could listen to you all day. You have so much fantastic stuff to tell us about regenerative agriculture and what you're doing. We have to move on, sadly, but it'll be, it's been really interesting talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're gonna head to the Czech Republic now, and we're gonna chat with Martin and possibly Jana. I'm not sure if he has Jana with him as well.
I should be on. Hi, how are you?
Struggling to hear a little bit, Martin. Can you try and speak again on the mic?
Can you hear me now?
That's better, thank you.
Okay, I will be holding the mic closer to my mouth. All right.
Before we start, I think Katrin's going to share a short video that's got a little bit about your farm and what you do, so we can watch that for a few seconds.
Okay.
Známili v Budějovicích na škole. Martin mě k tomu nějak jakoby přivedl zpátky k těm kořenům, protože on celou dobu zemědělství dělat chtěl, studoval ho.
Jsem vždycky tíh k těm věcem, co jsou spojený s přírodou.
My od začátku jedeme v režimu ekologického zemědělství, což znamená, že žádné hormony ani pesticidy nepoužíváme. Nevím, proč bychom měli do půdy, která je vlastně takovým tím nejdůležitějším prostředkem pro to, abychom vůbec mohli produkovat to, co produkujeme, tak proč bychom si ji měli záměrně devastovat, ničit a házet do ní jakoby chemii, která se pak dostává zpětně do toho jídla.
Proto je důležité se zabývat zemědělstvím.
Potraviny nejsou drahý, biopotraviny. Spíš ty potraviny, co nejsou bio, tak ty jsou levný. Potraviny se vyrábějí průmyslově a vyrábějí se takovým způsobem, že vždycky tu výslednou cenu, která pak znamená to, že to jídlo je levné.
Great. So we got to see a little bit of your farm, which is great, and here on the voiceover, Jana there, who I think is hiding next to you. Good morning, Jana.
Yeah, the Jana is just beside me, yeah.
So I think Angela mentioned in her introduction, before you began your CSA, your community supported agriculture, you were working, processing cheese from sheep. Can you share a little bit of your story from then to now?
Yes, hi. Basically our story was that we came to this village like 15 years ago together with Jana to basically with backpack on our bags, and we just started the farm from scratch, to build a house, lease some land, get some sheep, and eventually in 10 years we we built like a small dairy farm, like at producing on farm, like at the processing with sheep cheeses, build a house, having 5 kids, and yeah, and like be full-time farmers, which was like my dream to to live on the landscape and have a house and wife and some kids and be a farmer. And yes, this was our story. And even though everything looks nearly to perfect, we were kind of constantly struggling with get enough cash for our kind of the growth of our farm. And we've been constantly dealing with difficulties to get access to lands. And this was basically end of our first kind of period of like a farming ad- adventure, that eventually we had to close that operation and kind of move on the other spot. And you seen the other spot on the video. So now we are not dairy farmers anymore. We are like a more now like a vegetable horse-powered farm now.
And what was like the sort of trigger to you? I mean, perhaps you could explain a little bit about what a CSA is, what it means, and why that's a good way to run your farm.
What was the trigger? The trigger was that we've been kind of struggling along to get enough kind of cash, or have like a better cash flow for our farm. Uh, Before CSA, we market our to produce on the markets and local shops and on farm store, but it was very kind of time consuming because we've been living on quite like a remote place. So traveling to the markets back and forth and do it everything just with me and Rihanna, and having the 5 kids on the same time was very uh, time consuming. And one day, one winter, I went to Prague to do some workshop which organized AMPI, which is the organization we've been since that collaborating with. And this was about like starting CSA and how to get a customers and that. So I get some knowledge on that workshop. On the same time, I'm directly join existing CSA to groups, which since that we've been delivering. So, and this was kind of the breaking point of our operation, because the CSA make a kind of wonder, at least from like a cash flow point of view. So CSA works really nice for us in terms of cash flow, and in terms of kind of get a better connection with other people and other customers, because before that we've been kind of living not a lonely life, but we've been stuck on the end of the road with heavy work and little cash.
Okay, thank you. And you mentioned AMPI, the organisation that you've done some work with. AMPI is one of our bond partners, yes. That's based in the Czech Republic.
Yes.
You're still working with AMPI. What are you looking at now? What are your plans with them for the future?
Yeah, since that we are in like a kind of closer and closer contact and collaboration, and right now our kind of very exciting project is quite similar to Bruna, to Hi Bruna. We are kind of trying to build up a brand new farm, like training center or training farm for agroecology and little bit focused on horse farming. So we are now raising the money for this the project. So build like a new farm, and on the same time that place should be like a meeting point for like a farmers to get a better information and education about agroecology and about horse farming, and on the same time educate public more about what is organic to produce is about. And on most important thing is to train the future farmers. So we are launching like a apprenticeship program in Czech Republic right now. We just 2 days ago released a new video, and from the spring 2021 we will have like a first apprentices on our farm and on many other farms in Czech. So we are, since that we are part of the network of collaborating farm, and AMPI is the organization what is kind of putting the things together and like helping us like farmers to get a, you know, get more like it organized and get connected between ourselves and get connected in kind of national and kind of European level kind of thing, which I'm like really glad that I have a chance to see that we are like connecting and see and hear many inspiring stories across the Europe, thanks to Bond, and meet the people and kind of get a like a global perspective of our what we are like doing now. I mean, the be a local is like a very important, but without global perspective is something really important is missing once you don't have like a global perspective.
Wow, thank you, Martin. So I find it fascinating how your connection with AMPI has kind of grown both you, but also grown the AMPI organisation to have a greater focus on farming and the value of agroecology in farming in a kind of environmental context. I think AMPI was very focused on the environmental side of things, but as they've worked with Bond and they've worked with you and other Czech farmers, they started to see the value and the importance of having farming when they come and they talk about policy to the Czech yes. government. So that's brilliant. Thank you. Well, we must move on. Again, I could keep talking all day. It's lovely to hear what you guys are doing, and thank you for joining us too, Jana. And the rest of that video that was made that we showed a little clip of, I think will be available on the Bond website in its 3-minute fullness. So if you enjoyed that video, please everyone come and have a look at the Bond website later, and you can watch it. Okay, so we're going to move to Greece now, where it looked very, very sunny about an hour ago. We're going to be talking to Nikos and Lilian. Good morning.
Hi, thank you for inviting us here.
Oh, we're so glad you could come. We can see your lovely smiling faces. So do you want to show, Katrin, do you want to show some photos? We're going to start with some photos of your farm, which is a tiny farm which grows micro sprouts and shoots, isn't it, as well as flowers. Well, it doesn't look very tiny there actually. Do you want to tell us what we're looking at here? Do you want to, Lilian?
Specialty vegetables also. I mean, we plant everything, almost everything, but in minimum small quantities.
Okay, great.
So this is the microgreens area.
Great.
And those guys were came here from Italy, from gastronomy school.
Visiting the farm.
That sky is amazing.
It's an everyday sunset.
Yeah. Better than Santorini, yeah?
You can see that we have different plantings in the greenhouse, a small greenhouse, 400 square meters, and if we plant different vegetables, we don't have one vegetable in all our greenhouse. It's not heated.
Yeah.
Greenhouse.
That's how we keep diversity in the farm.
Fantastic. Great, okay, I think those are our photos, so we'll move on to the questions. Okay, so this is another story that I love. Two people who had a comic book store in Thessaloniki, and then you became organic farmers. So just tell us a little bit about your journey, please.
We had that comic book store for more than 20 years in the city of Thessaloniki, which is the biggest, the second biggest city in Greece. That's where we come from. We grew up in the city. So in 2007, when the crisis hit America, it straight came to us because our imports were from the States. So we started thinking what to do. Because we saw that something weird is going to happen and the crisis is going to hit the whole of Greece. So in 2007, we decided to put a small piece of land, less than 2 acres, in the organic farming certification. And we started planting. We had no knowledge of farming. We had nothing to do with the land, but we were decided that from now on we will work with earth. So that's how we started in the small area we have, and that was very very hard because no knowledge was with us, but we knew how to read. So we start reading the whole time and try to find things that we can work with. So in 2010, after 3 years, we were certified organic and we started participating in farmers markets in Thessaloniki. And that's where we started from.
Brilliant. And how did you choose your niche market? Because there wasn't anybody doing microgreens, is that right?
No, there weren't either microgreens, either specialty vegetables from different kinds, different countries. No edible flowers, they were all imports. We started realizing at the farmers market that when you have a small piece of land and your production is small, you can be so very competitive with the prices, and you can even have a lot of stuff to sell because you need more land. So we figured out that we have to find what was missing from the market. So that was microgreens. That was edible flowers and specialty vegetables like pak choy, tat choy, things that come from Asia, from Latin America. So we started a new production. And in the same time, we needed to start educating the customers because they knew nothing about all the things we were planting. And that was the hard thing at the beginning. We also had to find a way to enter in the national list new seeds because they didn't know them, so we had to struggle with the ministry and everything to enter those seeds in the list. But that was turned out to be a blessing because all these things turned out to be good because chefs knew were interested on what we were cultivating. So we started having cooperations with small restaurants in Thessaloniki, in the city. And because we're close to the city, we are local farmers. It was a good opportunity for us that was open.
Brilliant. Okay, and you obviously have made the connections with the farmers market, and you've got more involved in the organic cooperative. Can you tell us? I think, in fact, it was before Bond that you Nikos became vice president. Is that right, within the cooperative? So how did your experience with Bond sort of affect or change how you viewed your role as vice president?
It was a great experience, the Bond project in Poland. We were in the last, I think it was the last project, Bond project in Poland, no? So I was vice president to the Northern Association, Organic Farmers Association in Greece. We organize and manage farmer market in Thessaloniki. So I was the thing that I learned in Bond project that it was motivated me to become a leading part of the association, and trying to make not only the farm to fork connection between farmers and consumers, but trying to make another vision to make the small farming connection with the restaurants. Because at this moment, with the connection that we have now with restaurants, all the chefs, they need local and seasonal organic produce. And now this is my vision for the future, to make a connection, a cooperative with the restaurants and the touristic business in Greece. Trying to bring more young people, young farmers, to small farming, giving them the opportunity to sell their produce directly or to the customers or to the food industry. But the restaurant food industry, you understand what I'm saying? The touristic business.
Yeah.
It's the first industry in Greece, the tourism, you know.
No, that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. Thanks to Bond, I started realizing that I have to be part of this, because it starts moving the green recovery all over the world, I think, and it's time to be active in it.
Brilliant. So you've not mentioned this time. I think some of our other presenters have mentioned COVID and how that has affected things. You know, it obviously brings its challenges to farming and access to markets wherever the coronavirus crisis. Can you tell me about any of the lessons that you've learned from times of crisis that you could tell us coming forward?
Well, I think the lessons that we learn is it's moving us to be more passionate, to be ingenious, to be more creative, to have solidarity, because I think it's the main thing that you have to have in time of crisis. And you have to feed all the time your dreams, your fantasy, with all the things that are happening outside, because you think, you see with the COVID thing, everything changed in a minute for everybody. So we have to prepare ourselves and to feed our possibilities to do things, to change things, because Earth needs to change. We need to care about those we love. We need to care about those we want to protect. So we have to be more strong, because things changing so fast. So it's not only economic, the crisis, but it's crisis in everything, in relationships, in everything we facing up. So we have to be there, prepared. We have to take care of the earth because that's what we have and that's where we walk on.
Thank you. Thank you. That's beautiful. Well, I think we've come to the end of our time for presentations. In fact, I'm afraid we've probably overrun because everybody has such amazing stuff to share. We do have a little bit of time for questions and answers. We've had some lovely comments on the live stream. We've had some of our partners have said it's such a privilege to know some of the speaking farmers personally and to have the opportunity to cooperate with them. They're saying what a great job you're doing and how nice to see you all, even though it's virtually, which is what we've become used to during this time. We do have a question for Bruna. Let me go to it. So yeah, this comes from Delia McGrath, and actually Martin Rosenbaum has also echoed it. How do you plan to finance the project or fund the Croatian hub?
For Croatian hub, we plan to activate more farmers to participate and to become accredited professionals, and for activation of the center, we need to participate in projects and or to find investors. It is but I think the Green Deal, European Green Deal, is going towards only that kind of future, because it is the only possibility how we can survive as human race in general. If we don't do that kind of thing in farming and in general, we won't survive. So every evidence is talking about that.
Yeah, so you're confident you'll be able to get those funds.
I cannot say I'm confident, but I'm really hope to.
Yeah, fantastic.
We are highly motivated, but I hope we will succeed.
Can you share with us a little bit more about the Savory Institute, what exactly it stands for and it means, just while you're here?
Savory Institute, Alan Savory is well known. He is like over 40 years researching regenerative agriculture and holistic management in the pasture-raised cattle, and holistic management is using cattle as a tool for regenerating soil, because soil is only wealth that you can get. If you don't raise the soil, you won't be able to raise anything, and it gives you opportunity to really look and observe and to learn how to regenerate land. And when one time when you learn the principle and you see how much bare ground you have and how much you shouldn't have, and you start to observe that, and you become obsessed with that. And that is the process of learning that all farmers should do, and all people in general. We are not taught that in school. Even in faculties, but we should.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So if we have any more questions, they're welcome. Angela, I don't know if you have anything that you'd like to add, or Jyoti, you often have a question for our people.
More questions are welcome, and while they're coming in, it's just to really thank everyone for the wonderful presentations. Guilherme is going to sum up and give us also his feedback, but for me it's just a very, very big thank you to everyone, and all the importance of what is being said here that is going forward. So we definitely move forward with all these points that are raised here that are really, really important. Jyoti, would you like to say something also?
I just thought it was so interesting to hear what everybody's doing to regenerate everything. Hearing about the pasture feeding, how the pasture feeding can be really good for the environment, and it regenerates soils, and agroforestry, and how that brings trees into farm landscapes. I noted down all the different things people are doing to regenerate, and now each of the farms is also creating direct connections with consumers that are very close to them, so that it's reducing food miles, and creating more awareness of local food and the environment, bringing more people back to the land and connection with the land. All these things are really amazing, and they're all a part of what we should all be doing. And as each person was doing it, I really was struck by the way that you're also teaching at the same time and encouraging more people to take this up. Inspiring all of your customers to find a different way to eat, and to understand more about how food is connected to what you can do for the environment, but also teaching new farmers how to gain those skills, helping farmers who have been farming in a one way that might be bad for the environment to change and start to become regenerators of the environment instead on their farms. All of these things means that we can multiply the impact of what we have. And it's a real world where humans argue all the time, or might have difficulties, or get tired, or have problems while we're taking this path to try and do things differently. But you all seem to have worked past that and come up with solutions that are bigger than the sum of all of your activities together, because you've worked with other people to do them. So thank you so much for what you're doing.
We've just had one more question come in. It's a follow-up question for Bruna. So she thanks you for answering her question, and she says, you mentioned the use of cattle. Will you include other livestock on the project?
We are including all livestock in our project, because we want, in Croatia, situation that people have many kind of livestock. We don't have such a big farms like maybe America or some other country. We don't have our farms are highly separated in the matter of place. You have 1 hectare in one place, another hectare 10 kilometers apart, and that is like situation. But also from the past, Croatian family farms have been highly diversified, and so we encourage that to be as diversified as it's possible, because it is also good for farmers to have all year around different kind of income from different product of produce. So you can have fruits and vegetables and sheep and goat maybe in different part of years. So the diversification in stock production, but in all other production, it is our driver. Not to have one monoculture in anything.
Brilliant. Yeah, thank you. Okay, I've got another question. This isn't to anyone specific, so there may be any of you might be able to answer this. This is from Vesna from Montenegro. She'd like to hear, does anyone have experience in the work of cooperatives, especially women in the countryside? So just ask that again. Does anyone have experience in the work of cooperatives, especially women in the countryside? Any of our presenters have anything to share about that?
I can say that we work like cooperative, not completely legal, but lots of us were women, and women are
Bruna, sorry, we're struggling to hear you. Can you just...
Okay, do you hear me now?
Yeah, much better.
Most of our farmers included in our former cooperative were women, and women are, if I know have the right data from around the globe, women are mostly farmers these days. most of family farms are run by women. That is experience, and it is not main job anymore.
Yeah, okay, thank you. And I'd just like to also add for you, Vesna, we have a resource on the Bond website called The Barn, which links to a number of stories. We've got 55 stories, I think, from different places around Europe. And there's one in Macedonia, which is the National Farmers Federation in Macedonia. And they've been doing some very interesting things with groups of women farmers who are very remote in their countryside and things. So that might be something that you could have a look at and see what's happening in some of those other stories. Thanks. So we got any more questions, or shall we move on to wrapping up? We have Guilherme from FAO, who I think might finish up for us if we haven't got any more questions. Thank you.
No more questions? Should I go, Lini? Okay. So, well, first of all, would like to thanks a lot to Marcin, Bruna, Nicolina, Martin, Yana, Lilian, Nikos. Fantastic, really amazing the work you are doing. Keep it up. What you are doing is very important to all of us. So it's really a great inspiration. And what is very interesting is I think several elements that you brought, we could continue to discuss for several hours, because they are also connected to very broad issues that are discussed at the global level nowadays, right? So I would just like to maybe highlight some few points. The first is this: it's clear why it is so inspirational what you are doing. I think a very common word that was used by several of you is dream, right? So clearly it's not just a work, a job, but you are developing a dream, your dream. And not just a dream, your personal dream, your individual dream, but you are also bringing, let's say, a vision for the future, a vision for the world on what you're doing. And I think this is very powerful. So this is my first point. And I also would like to highlight that how innovative can be what the activities that you are developing. I think Jyoti mentioned this, and this also raised my attention. So you are bringing innovation not just on how to organize yourselves and bring other farmers together to create markets that could be viable and adapted for the kind of products, the kind of crops that you are developing. But you are also innovating on how to, let's say, make the best use of it. So sharing knowledge. Several of you, in several of your experiences, you're not just talking about what you are producing, but how you are using the farm to share knowledge, to bring people to understand what you're doing, to have a better comprehension about how to grow organically, or to use centers to share information and knowledge. And this is also very interesting because it brings also sometimes it brings economic opportunities, right? That goes beyond the, let's say, the on farm business. It's on the farm, but you are exploring, let's say, new fields connecting to, let's say, tourism or knowledge. So I think this is very important because it adds a lot of value to the territory, to the identity of what you're doing, to the culture that is behind what you're doing. And in my opinion, this is very important and will be possibly a big trend in the future of agriculture that will not be only the production, but these connections to the territory, to the community, to the landscape, to bringing solutions to the challenges that our societies have. And it's a great way to educate, as I think Lilian mentioned, the society, right? And this is very important. So this is one of the big elements that I would like to highlight. Another one is that clearly you refer to organic, biodynamic, agroecological, regenerative, your duty to protect nature. So this is a huge value that is behind what you're doing, and that's the topic of our discussions, right? So green recovery. So it's addressing one of the main challenges that our society have nowadays. How can we restore the ecosystems? How can we keep our biodiversity? How can we be sustainable on the way we produce? And this issue seems, let's say, if you go beyond, let's say, this level, the local level that you are doing, this is the big discussion nowadays in the global agenda, right? The world is discussing how to transform food systems into sustainable food systems. And you are bringing very concrete examples on how to do it, how to produce sustainably, how to create diversified and healthy local food systems, and very diverse food systems that could also be very strategic to develop more resilient food systems to the crisis, to the shocks that we are having nowadays. So this is very important. Another point that this is just to conclude on this part, I think this could be also a new trend that is that could be emerged from the actual health crisis, right? A need to develop for the governments to diversify their public interventions and to promote more diversified and more local food systems in order to be able to better cope with crisis in case it happens, right? So this was one huge challenge for certain countries that were very dependent on let's say few channels, and so you could be, let's say, developing a big trend that are coming nowadays, hopefully. The other point that I would like to highlight is that you referred every time on huge challenges as well, right? Several crises, failures, and this is part of let's say the agricultural activity. But my point here is I think these failures, or how to cope with crisis, we could be better prepared for it in case we could have much more support to the organizations, right? So when you describe your experience, clearly the solutions you are developing, or that gave you the possibility to really develop your dreams, are when you are working together. So especially as we are talking about 98% of all the farm units in the world beyond 20 hectares and 84% beyond 2 hectares, there is no solution that is not collective solutions in this case, right? So it's important to have more support to strengthen the organizations, to bring capacities on organizational development in order to minimize these mistakes, right? Share more knowledge between the organizations, the farmers, in order to learn from each other. I think Bruna mentioned, we didn't, I don't remember if it was Bruna or Nicolina, that one of our mistakes, because we started to work together without agree on a common vision, what we want to achieve. So this is a super important, for instance, tip for others that could be needing to develop. So that's why it's so important, the kind of project that we've been working together in these last 3 years, the Bond project, because it's very rare, unfortunately, to find specific projects providing specific support to strengthen collective action, and this is very much needed. And the other point, the last point that I would like that raise my attention is that in several of your cases, you refer that you started to farm from scratch. You came from another experience and started to farm. And this is also interesting because it seems also to start to become a new trend. Let's say newcomers on agriculture, new farmers are arriving sometimes from urban areas to rural areas to develop. And what is interesting is that when this is happening, it's happening exactly with a lot of ideals and a vision and dreams behind it. So people willing to do it in a specific way. And yes, it is very true that, let's say, from one side, you have a general trend of aging in agriculture worldwide, or that the people leave in rural areas because of especially in developing countries, the problems of infrastructure, migrations, etc. But there is also this other trend that can be noted in certain parts of the world of newcomers coming to agriculture with a lot of values to bring in, with different capacities that can help to innovate the way things are done. So these are some of the points that called my attention from the several experiences that you presented. And again, thanks a lot for what you're doing, and that we are all benefiting from it. Thanks. Maybe to finalize, Lindy, I think I should give the floor to our friends for their final comments, right? Martin, Bruna, Nicolina, Martin, Jana, Lilian, and Nikos. If you would like to bring your final remarks, comment some other things.
I just want to say that it was very empowering to meet all those, as Martin said, young farmers in Bond, in TOT, in Cordoba, because average farmer in Croatia and around the world, it's like 61-year-old. And in one place we had opportunity to meet farmers with same opinion, with similar opinion as ours, from Czech Republic and Poland and England and all other countries. So that we should thank Bond for that, and it was wonderful to meet all those people and to work with them. And I hope we continue to work together in nearby future. So that's it.
Thanks, Bruna.
For me, the most important thing that I think all the farmers need to remember is that this is not a job, it's a calling. And the thing that will get us up in 5 a.m. to work is not only the money, but the sense of purpose that we bring to the world. And with that passion, we need to be example for other farmers and for our customers, so we can change the world together to be a better place for our children.
Thank you, Nicolina. Martin, would you like to go?
Yes, if I can add just a little to these like lovely and powerful words. There's one thing I kind of noticed, that even though we still see ourselves as a young farmers, behind us there's a new generation of people who are trying to get into the farming, you know, and they are struggling to get a knowledge and get a land and get a founding. And as a me, personally, like 2 decades ago, when I was like traveling around and visiting farms and woofing, or you know, like trying to learn how to farm and how to harness the world. And those farmers who are now in their like a 70s pass me the knowledge. Maybe now it's our time to kind of take the pedal and push the things a little bit forward. And we have some knowledge, and we have some kind of message to share. And there are people who are like willing and willing to hear, and they need our support. And without support they will not get in. And those future farmers are like a future of the planet. So I think it's a responsibility of all of us, and especially us as a farmers, to sell the knowledge and help those people to get into the farming, this new entrants, because I feel that the mainstream of the agribusiness just don't see this thing and completely oversee this kind of potential of new people, especially in our country. This is my kind of message. Yes.
Thank you, Martin. Nikos, Lilian?
Well, I think that we have to address to everybody around us and educate them to stop eating poison food, and because that food carries diseases. We have to remember what Hippocrates said. Hippocrates is in Greek. It's the first doctor that said that our food is our medicine, and our medicine is our food. We have to educate everybody that you can live a good life if you focus in organic agriculture, and you can profit from even a small piece of land if you organize well your cultivation. We have to teach everybody no dig, no till methods, take care of the land, and we have to start a small farm revolution all over the world. Thank you very much for having us here. Thank you, Bond Project. It was very inspiring. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we have Bruna would like to share something.
No, I'm just waving.
Okay, great. Marcin, our first farmer and our final comment, what would you like to share with everybody? We need you to unmute yourself, Marcin.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So I think that the most important thing for me is this building the community, you know, and this is the most powerful thing in all these activities, and building the biodiversity. And this is the second, I think, what we can do. Okay, thank you very much for all, and thank you for Bond Project.
Thank you. So, Angela, would you like to say goodbye to everybody for us?
Yes, I'm extremely touched. So I can only say a gigantic thank you to everyone. And like you have mentioned, no, you spoke about solidarity, care, responsibility, and also the need, Guillermo, you raised about, okay, let's now really provide the environment, the funds to think about how to make this possible, to facilitate this transition, this move where everyone has a place and a possibility to make these dreams come true. So it's a big hug and a big thank you to everyone. I think this is wonderful, and it's just the beginning of many new adventures. Thanks a lot. Thank you.